Move over Raspberry Pi. We've got a Zema Blade in the house. This is the second iteration of the Zema system, the Zema single board computer type deal. And what does this have that Raspberry Pi doesn't? PCIe slot. Check that out. That's a 2.0 times 4 slot. So you can plug a whole bunch of external stuff in here. I mean, one thing at a time, but you can still plug some external stuff in here where the Raspberry Pi has its custom GPIO hat. This has an actual PCI slot. On the side, you have a couple of SATA ports. These are 6 gigabit per second SATA ports, SATA 2.0. And then over here, we've got Ethernet, Gigabit Ethernet, USB-C and USB 3, as well as mini DisplayPort. Let's get over to the bench and see what we have in the box and get this thing all put together, and then we'll see how it boots up and what it comes with. Ice Whale, SATA Y cable. Nice. Ice Whale, what a great name. So SATA drive on one side, SATA drive on the other side, power cable, new connectors. Awesome, that's pretty cool. I wouldn't really call that a Y cable though. 16 gig of Ice Whale RAM. This is, for those of you that are keeping score, DDR3L SODIMM, S-O-D-I-M-M memory. Ice Whale power adapter, and this is where it is really cool for ham radio. This is a 12 volt 3 amp power adapter, so I probably won't really even need this, but it does come with all of the adapters for the different regions in the world. It should only go in one way, and it should be super easy to figure out, which is why it's escaping me how to do it. There we go. Lock and unlock and open. Not bad. 12 volts, 3 amps, and we've got an HDMI adapter here. It takes DisplayPort and turns it into HDMI. There's the board, but we can't look at this just yet because we have another Ice Whale box that we got to go through. Nice. That's got a chunky metal feel to it. Feels like it's some kind of aluminum or something. Aluminium. There's anti-slip feet on the bottom, and it's got room for 2 drives in it, and then the top here to sit your Zema board in, I'm sure. And now that we've done that, we can open this thing up finally. There it is. Okay, so there's a little slit right there. I like the packaging. It's pretty nice. Little QR code there, zemaboard.com/discord, so y'all can get on the Discord by scanning that QR code. Let me know in the comments down below if you can actually scan that from your TV or something while you're watching this. Dear friend, I am Lauren, founder of Ice Whale. Upon receiving this card, please accept my sincere gratitude to you on behalf of the Ice Whale team. We forged the Zema Blade to be the starter single-board server for those who dare to be outlaws of this capitalism-rich and extractivism-rich digital era. Something better suited for the broader cyber-native, powerful yet inexpensive, handy yet astute, tiny yet versatile. Albert Camus once wrote, "The only way to deal with an unfree world is to become so absolutely free that your very existence is in fact a rebellion." For now, I hope you enjoy your time with Zema Blade. Sincerely, Lauren and the Zema Blade team. Well, thank you, Lauren. That's nice. User manual, English and what appears to be German, but I could be wrong about that. No, hold on, there's more. French. Quick start guide. Start with an OS. The power supply interface is USB PD 3.1, and I didn't show that to you, but this is a 12 volt 3 amp USB-C power supply. So this takes less power than the Raspberry Pi 5 does, but that also depends on what all you're powering externally to the device. Yeah, so there's not a whole lot of instructions in here because there really just doesn't need to be. And now, the moment I've been waiting for, the Zema Blade itself. That's pretty cool. And it's a pretty nice, compact little package. That's pretty cool. So now, is there an easy tool-free way to open this? There we go. I was just being way too gentle. Now we're halfway there. Now we got to get the other half. Oh, there's screws. Awesome. See, if I would have just started ripping and tearing, that would have been a problem. You guys were looking at those screw holes going, hey, dummy. Joke's on you. They were hidden by the bezel, so you couldn't do that. RAM goes in, and this is pretty cool. This is BG array, I guess, ball grid array. So all the solder pads are underneath. And 1, 2 by 4 is 8 and 8 is 16. Like I said, it only fits in one way. You put it in and then slide it down and it snaps into place. Most of y'all already know that stuff though. So we can sit the Zema board right on top, and then we can connect our 2 drives right underneath, like so. Nice. Have to get some more drives in the future. What else do we get in the box? We get a single SATA cable. So we have the single and the double. And then we get a nice USB-C cable. And we get 2 stickers. Well, this is going to be a first for me, just like it's going to be a first for you. I'm going to plug the thing in. I've got a massive amount of cables on the desk. I've got the power cable. I've got the HDMI, mini DVI, mini DisplayPort. So we're going to see this thing first boot together because I haven't seen one of these things boot together. The instructions say that it's going to show up on the network because it's wired into my router, and then I'll be able to go to its IP address. I see no lights and I see no display activity. Oh, there it is. Zema Blade. I was just being impatient. So we'll just wait. Looks like it's Debian GNU Linux, and it comes right up with a login. So it already has an operating system on it, and it says go to CasaOS.local. So I'm going to switch out the screen capture on this, and we're going to go to CasaOS.local. All right, we got the web browser up. It's going to be a second first. Let's see if it's registered its DNS name. Yes, I would like Google to be able to see devices on my own network. Yeah, it didn't find the DNS name. But I can do all kinds of crazy stuff because I'm a hacker. 192.168.12.145 is my local network. I want it to scan what appears to be a /24, a CIDR address. So it's going to scan all 255 addresses in that range and report back what hosts are up. So you'll get to see all the stuff that's on my local network. Yeah, CasaOS.LAN. It said .local, but it is .LAN. Let's try it with the name again. Yes, I still want you to be able to find devices on the network, just like the last time you asked. Oh, look at that. Welcome to CasaOS. Let's create your account. And with all of the freedom stuff and anti-capitalism stuff they had in the welcome message, this should be a local account. So I'm going to do Steve, and you're not going to know my password. We're going to create. We're good to go. Awesome. Show news feed from CasaOS blog. Sure. Pretty cool looking web interface. Mountain ranges, little snow-covered peaks there. Do smart home stuff. You can sync your data between multiple devices, files, drag icons to sort. I don't want to, but you can. Sort them however you want. We can go into the App Store, and it's stuck. I can't do anything except for wait for it. I guess I can go back. All right, back to the beginning. Made with love by Ice Whale and you. So storage, let's configure storage. We have a 26 gig internal, that's probably like an it is an MMC drive because it says it's an MMC drive. And then that's just how it is. So let's get rid of that. We're using 3% of the 16 gigs of RAM, and we're using 1.7 watts of electricity. And our CPU is at 86 degrees Fahrenheit, and we're using 0% of that. Search for, what am I searching for? The price of tea in China. Yes, that's just a regular search engine. So you could make this your homepage on your browser. That's nice. I'm not really going to do drive speed test because that is up to the drives that you purchase to plug into this thing. Let's see, what else can we do with this thing? Files. So this is exposing the file system on the device itself directly. So let me open up a new tab. Get rid of the old tab, and let's go to CasaOS.LAN again. And I'm still logged in. So I can do terminal from here. Nice. Google Password Manager, thank you. Please check if the username, okay. So it won't let me log in over SSH. Machine settings, show search bar, goodbye. Hello, search English. Web UI port is 80, that's the way it should be. I can change the wallpaper so I can get rid of the Rocky Mountains if I want to, or I can keep them. I like them, I like mountains. Show newsfeed, show recommended apps, auto mount USB drive. So if I were to plug in a USB flash drive, which I happen to have sitting here, it should auto mount it. So we'll wait for that to happen. Update, and we're currently at the latest version. Oh, and it auto mounted it, there we go. Use 28.65, total 28.65. So that's just giving me the status of it, but I need to go in files and see what's on it. Location. So I can add network storage, I can add local storage.
So you auto-mounted. Where did you auto-mount?
Interesting that it put it on the display but didn't actually mount it, and I had the mounting turned on, auto mount USB drive. So we turn it off. And it disappears. And we turn it on. And it should come back. It might be an unrecognized file system. Yeah, there it is. But it should show up as a drive. There's the regular drive. There's the storage. Merge storages. At least one extra hard drive is needed for this feature. Yep. Please plug a drive in to create storage. Okay. Alright, let's reboot it, see what happens. Restart. Am I sure? Of course. And it should. It looks like it's going to try and automatically reconnect for us. So she's still booting up. There we go. Files. I don't see it there. And I don't see the drive there either. Okay, can we log in over terminal and see it? Okay, let's go to the regular terminal. Okay, so they're supposed to have a default username and password. Let's try that from the web interface. It's CasaOS and CasaOS. And it wants me to change my password. This password you just used was found in a data breach. Well, yeah, because it's a commonly known password. So, and that's my browser doing that. So I'm going to save it, then I'm going to update it. So let's do password. Okay, so I can passwordless sudo, so now I can change my own password again, because I couldn't do that by default. And we've updated the password successfully. So my SanDisk drive is plugged in to the USB port. I did ls USB. I want to list the stuff on the USB ports. So it is plugged in. Yep, so it is a Linux Mint 22 installer. Exit out of here. Close out of that. Okay, so I'm going to remove the drive. And then I'm going to plug it into my computer, and I'm going to format it on my big computer. Alright, that was fun. I had to take that USB drive, and I couldn't format it on my Mac, and when I plugged it into my Mac, I ran out of USB power on the USB hub, and the camera went crazy and all kinds of stuff. But we're back. We're live. I took it and I put it in the machine that's over my shoulder here, which is Linux Mint, and I erased the partitions on it. So let's see if we've made any difference. This is now a blank drive, so 28.65 gigs free, and it's a 32 gig SD card, so that seems about right. Let's see if it shows up here at all. No. Let's see if it's connected, but it's not mounted. Let's see if it shows up in here. Drive, still not showing up in there. Interesting. Let's go to terminal through the thing. Update the password, 0 complaints. So we see it as a block device. It's mounted in media, devmon. Supposed to be. Because I'm not root. So let's be root. Okay, so we can see it there. Created a blank file. Let's get out of the terminal. Let's go into files. I already forgot what folder it was in. Yep, so you can see it. That's fine. But I would totally expect that if I plug in a drive, it would show up there like that, and it'd be ready to go. Use sync thing to sync your files between multiple devices, okay? And we're still having problems with that. Let's go to the terminal. This is a Debian-based OS, so I'm going to do my apt update. Yep, network's fine. I don't know why the App Store is not working. While we're here, let's put on NeoFetch and see what hardware lies beneath. What secrets lie within. How does this work through a terminal and a web browser? Works pretty good. And that's actually what I expected to find in here for a processor, because it's running at 12 volts. You're not going to get your i5, i3, i7 processors. You're going to get more of a Celeron type. And it says it's 2 gigahertz. It says we have 16 gigs of RAM, the built-in GPU in the chip. So I wouldn't expect blazingly fast GPU performance, but you can install an external GPU in that PCIe 2.0 × 4 slot. So I want to do an apt upgrade to get all the latest packages on here. 162 upgraded, 1 newly installed, 0 to remove, 0 not upgraded. Need to get 266 megs of archives. Let's do it. So the updates are all done, and during the update process, it very politely asked me to reboot the machine, so I'm going to reboot the machine, and we'll see what happens when it comes back up. And for grins, I have taken out my USB thumb drive, because we don't need that anymore. We've proven that it mounts. We've proven that we can see files on it and read files on it. So I'm going to try a different way to go. And she's still booting up. CPU's working hard. A little bit of RAM cleaned up. Good. What I have now is an external USB storage drive, and this is going to plug in over USB 3 because the USB-C connector is done by power, and also I don't have an external SATA drive that I can run off of this. All right, we're plugged in. We got power. It should show up here eventually. This is, I want to say this is a 4 terabyte drive, but it'll tell us pretty soon. Found a new drive. Nice. Okay. So it didn't like the thumb drive for some reason. Yeah, it's a 4 terabyte drive, but what I like to do, I'd like to open it in files. That's my only choice anyway. And so it does show up as a storage location. It's interesting that it's treating a real hard disk differently than it's treating a USB storage device. So I can browse right into the file system. I can look at files directly in the web client, or I can get this thing shared out over the network. This is my old 891 and my QCX mini transceiver that I built. Plenty of videos about both of those on the channel. And if you look, it showed up in the exact same place. Root Media, DevMon, that's where the USB flash drive showed up, and now this is where the spinning rust shows up. It's giving me properties. It's telling me I've used 2.4. I've got 3.6 left. If I go into storage, now I can see it. I can format it. I can remove it. I still don't see it as a drive. I see it as storage, so that's interesting. I can merge the two of them. Now that we've done all the updates, let's try one more time to go into the App Store and see if it's still doing its thing. It is still doing its thing. The Zema Blade. This is pretty cool in my mind because there's a lot of things you can do with it. Something I just found out in editing is that this thing doesn't have Wi-Fi. It's meant to be a NAS development platform, network attached storage. In POTA, do you need Wi-Fi? I don't know. Is it a deal breaker? I don't know. I'll leave a link down below for a small Wi-Fi dongle that I have used that would slide right into the USB-A port. Take care of everything you need. But I did want to let you know that it doesn't have Wi-Fi. Where would you go with something like this? Well, first off, it's a 12-volt device, so there's the whole ham radio tie-in right there with the 12 volts. Second, it is an Intel processor, so you can run Windows on it if you wanted to run Windows. Third, it's super small, so it'll fit in your Go box. So now you've got a Go box mounted Windows computer to do your programming on the run. That's how it would fit into the ham radio world. All that stuff I showed you before about the file stuff, it looks like it's designed to be a network attached storage appliance, which is something that's becoming very popular for these type of manufacturers to make. I just reviewed one from B-Link. I'll leave a link to that video up above. This one here comes in smaller, but you have to add the external drive cages and whatnot. At the end of the day, it's still going to be the same size if you're doing a NAS type system with it. If you're just using this as a single board computer for some type of Go box or something, that's all it is right there. And running off of 12 volts makes it fantastic. So this is going to be a lot like the Evolve 3, only more RAM and faster because you can put whatever kind of RAM in it you want. This one's got 16 gigs of RAM in it, but it's a SODIMM, so put in 32, put in 64, put in whatever you want. Make your entire ham shack on the go so you can run your FT8 and WinLink and radio programming and so forth while you're on the road. I'll leave some links in the description down below. Now it's a pointer tool. See how versatile this thing is? I'll leave some links in the description down below where you can get some more information on the Zema Blade machine, and I'll leave a video right over here for you that you might enjoy next. Thanks for being awesome. I'll see you over there.